much. Good evening, everyone. It is February 18th, 2026. This is our 5 o'clock work session. Please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty, we're going to go ahead and jump into public comments. Is there anybody that has any public comments tonight? Go ahead and come forward.
How are you doing?
Doing well. Please state your name and know you have 3 minutes.
Okay. My name's Steve Terrell, and I'm the president of DIG, the Development Interest Group for Frankfort. We've done a lot of good for Franklin County, bringing in 220 jobs, but we do understand that we still need to keep moving forward. So we would like to set up a partnership with the county and the city to be a resource for you. Our membership is based on developers, investors, a lot of people already doing stuff in this county. So that's all I wanted to do. Thank you all for everything you've done. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for being with us, Steve. Thank you. Rachel. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
My name is Rachel Moore. I'm the executive director and founder of William Joseph Crisis Nursery, a nonprofit here in Frankfort. Starting in October, we will provide a safe place for children to stay for up to 30 days while their parents navigate various crisis situations. We plan to provide support to families seeking treatment for opioid use disorder. And I'm here tonight to talk about the need for the use of the net recovery devices here in Frankfort. I'm in no way saying that I disagree with MAT treatment. I believe it can be very beneficial and can save lives. However, based on my experience and what I'm seeing with the families I serve and have served in the past, we are still seeing some instances of neglect when parents are receiving the MAT treatment. I feel the use of net recovery devices can and will be a game changer for the families we serve if given the opportunity. I've spent time researching the benefits of the net recovery devices. I believe this could greatly benefit our outcomes of preventing child abuse and neglect due to opioid use disorder and keep kids in our community out of foster care. I know net treatment can be expensive, but I feel like it's worth the cost given the benefits it can provide. We can really change the trajectory of kids' lives in our community if we help their parents heal. At William Joseph Crisis Nursery, we are big on second chances and give opportunities to those who may not receive opportunities otherwise. We have hired someone who is in recovery who received net treatment. He is from Frankfort and would like to share his experience with you.
Hello everyone, my name is Justin Penn. I was born and raised right here in Frankfort, much to the dissatisfaction of some of its residents, I'm sure. But I've been in and out of recovery for many years, and during that time I've had the privilege of sitting across from countless men and women in treatment, people who were fighting for their lives, trying to change, trying to become someone they barely believed they could be. I've had real intimate and personal conversations with many of these people at their lowest points and sometimes at their turning points. At one point in my recovery, I was at a center that was using the net device. And I would love to sit up here and tell you that this is what saved my life. But we all know that recovery is not always that simple. In every situation, you're going to have outliers, people who don't want anything to work. Not because nothing works, but because they're just not ready. And at that time in my life, I was one of those outliers. I wasn't ready to change, I wasn't ready to surrender, and I wasn't ready to do the work. But I was watching, and I was listening. I was paying attention to the people around me who were changing. One thing about me, I became an expert on what doesn't work. I had to exhaust every option. I tried doing it my way, I tried shortcuts, I tried denial, I tried blaming everyone else, and I needed all these experiences to get to the core of my problem, which was me. Even though the net device wasn't my personal turning point, I spoke with hundreds of people who experienced it, and what I heard over and over again was powerful. I would say about 95% of them had their withdrawals cut in half. They said they started feeling better sooner. Many of them said they felt relief within just one day, and I witnessed this to be true. There is no single solution. Recovery works best holistically. But what I saw was this: when someone is ready, when someone truly wants to change, having something that reduces the physical suffering, that shortens the agony of withdrawal, that gives them even a small window of hope can make a huge difference. And the beautiful thing is, it's not another drug. Although I will say maintenance recovery kept me functioning for a time. Recovery is a deeply personal issue. What works for one person may not work for another, but tools matter, support matters, access matters. Why not use all these tools at our disposal? I wasn't ready then, but I am grateful for what I witnessed along the way, because even though I wasn't ready to change at the time, it planted seeds that later grew into a beautiful life. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing your story, and I just want to say congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a hard thing, and I know it's a lot. And Rachel, thank you for everything you're doing with your new, I'm not going to call it a venture, but I think it's really, really cool what you're doing here in this community. So thank you very much. So I think the court heard you all loud and clear.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other public comments before we move on? All righty, seeing none. Next on it was Invasive Task Force. Unfortunately, she could not come tonight, so we will not be hearing from Ann Claire Rogers. Next up is Gene and Charlie. So I think you all are familiar with Gene. We have a contract with him with the Bluegrass ad, and kind of goes right with what our previous speakers just talked about, the opioid crisis. So they are working on that, and Charlie's with ASAP, and he wears all kinds of hats. I don't even know other things that he's doing. So, Gene, welcome.
Hey, glad
Have
to
you
be
been?
here in person this time.
Yeah.
I've been all right.
That's good.
We
Well,
survived the ice.
That's good. That's good. So tell us a little bit about what's going on. I know we've talked briefly, and I felt like when Charlie and I talked last, it was kind of, you all were getting to the point that I felt like you should come back to the court and kind of let everybody know how things are going. So I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, happy to have the opportunity to give an update to you in the court. So far, when we set out on the adventure, I'll call it originally, there was a lot of inventory taking that had to be done. Franklin County is a very resource-rich community. And, thanks to the ongoing work of folks like Charlie and Amelia and many others in the community, a lot of those people were already meeting. From that point, trying to orient the different groups and the different individual nonprofits and institutions and players towards a more unified strategy, that took some time too. I think I've probably given the presentation 4 or 5 times at this point, but that's okay. I was always taught that, repetition is how we build knowledge. So, but at this point, we do have all 4 pillar groups functioning effectively.
Pull up the slide, please, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Andrew, just pull up the circle slide, please.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so, from a conceptual level, we hear about the phrase recovery ecosystems a lot. And, I like to try and make different analogies to help people understand. It really is very similar to traditional economic development or emergency management. And I think one of the things that has made it so hard for us to be able to deal with this issue overall is it's a very slow moving emergency. It's not like the flood you all just experienced where, something happens, we've got processes and procedures, we know who has what job, they're going to come to the table, they're going to implement that plan of action, and we're going to immediately tap into those local, state, and federal resources. This opioid crisis moves a lot slower than that. But at the end of the day, very similar to the work you've already got going on with your prevention programming, you need the 4 parts of this circle to move effectively in a wheel if you want to have a meaningful impact on generational impact for this issue. Because, as the lovely lady just shared, we try to prevent children from initiating substance use in the first place. You're never going to catch 100%. I don't care how good you're doing, it's just not realistic. So the ones that we're unable to prevent, they're going to fall into that risk reduction category. We want to keep them as healthy as we can. We want to keep them alive as they become adults. And then we want to move them into our treatment system so that they can receive that essential medical and clinical stabilization so that hopefully the recovery process itself can begin. And then oftentimes, it's been assumed that recovery circle is synonymous with the treatment circle. And unfortunately, that's not the system that we have right now or yet. but you all have a lot of great resources here. Programs like that, your Recovery Cafe. I know you have at least one very high-quality recovery residence here in the community. But what's really amazing is that once you couch individuals in that recovery circle and they stay there, they themselves become a part of the prevention fabric of your community, because there is no thing that you can say, there is no program, there is no curriculum that will ever fill the hole in a child's heart for a lost mother or father. So, you know, it's never been an either-or conversation. And also, when you keep them in recovery, they return to the workforce, so they become part of your tax base, and, you know, things just move forward in a more positive direction. Also, they're not using as much public resources through the court system, emergency management, and, you know, healthcare and all the rest. So, you know, we took this and we've been able to establish the various predominant organizations of the community into each of these four groups, which we refer to as the pillars. So there's a chair and a co-chair for prevention, one for risk reduction, one for treatment, and one for recovery as well. And they have started meeting. I've been able to supply them with, it's a really complicated looking document. It is a complicated document, but the purpose of the document is, I'm sure you all look at all kinds of different data every day. You know, you either look at it on behalf of this county and behalf of this court, complex information, lots of different players, lots of different numbers, or you do it in your business or whatever your regular outside of here day job is. It's hard to gather this much information, but we have developed a structure where we can gather that information, synthesize it, have these chairs and co-chairs, and they're almost ready to be able to meet with the judge again, as well as other elected level officials of the county, and distill that information to them in a digestible format. You all don't have the time, and I mean, nobody has the time to, you know, sit in a room and have every single organization come and explain exactly what they're doing and how it works and why it works. So we're trying to solve that information problem for the judge and for you, and also for these different groups, because they don't always talk to each other and they don't always know, you know, this one's going after that grant, or this one's got this source of funding from the state and this other one got this federal grant, and so on and so forth. So by closing those holes in information, our goal is to, you know, be able to work directly with the county and those other officials to have a comprehensive strategic plan that you all can move forward with in confidence to address this slow motion emergency, as well as to build up that institutional capacity when things break down or when something goes wrong. People know who is responsible for addressing that situation and how it's going to be fixed. And
Look at the structure.
Yeah.
Andrew, bring up the next slide.
yeah, that's a good segue. So this is, I wish I had a pointer. So there on the left side are the pillars I just described for each of the four primary domains for dealing with this situation. And what the arrows represent are the flow of communication, information, and the decision-making process. So each of them meet on a regular basis. Charlie was good enough to use the pre-existing infrastructure of the ASAP board to allow that to take place. And then when they have synthesized their information and have amongst themselves agreed on what their pillar's top priority is, they will go to that county-wide level advisory board and meet with them, and everybody gets to debate and come up with what is the shared primary, secondary, and possibly, you know, third level strategy that everybody's going to get behind, so that once that decision is made, everybody can start rowing in that direction. Now, I'm not naive. There will always be feelings hurt in this process, and just because you don't do somebody's thing the first time around, you may do it the next time. It's not that, you know, you want to look for the highest common denominator and try and solve that problem. And then if you get that problem solved, then you can move on to the next problem. But where it gets really cool, I think, is, once that countywide board has that firm and distinct set of objectives that, all the players, the nonprofits, the institutions, everybody's ready to go, then you convene that community-wide meeting where you bring in your partners and players that aren't necessarily directly engaged in this process on a day-to-day basis, folks like your chamber, your employers. And then you start to explore what are the other resources, whether they be time, talent, or treasure, that you have here in your community that can further advance those goals and try and make things as sustainable as possible. Because as we all know, we are in a period of variation with various resources that many of us have kind of just always taken for granted. But we'll get through it. It's okay. We're good people. We're strong and we're smart. So, once that outer circle community-wide input has been gathered on what has been established, we review that plan a final time, we ratify it, and then we put it into action. And then we do that. We do that next year. We do that again the year after that, and the year after that. Not with me. I told you all from the very beginning, my goal is to wind it up like a top, get it spinning well enough that it doesn't need me, because there's other counties to help too, but thank you for snatching me up first. And then just on a practical end, I personally feel good about where we're at with the contract. I've not submitted a bill yet, but I've accrued less than 15 hours at this point, and we've been engaged in this work for nearly a year now. Charlie has been an excellent steward of your resources, and I feel like I've been true to my word that I would also be a good steward of your resources. So I don't know what Charlie has.
Well, all right, so that you've heard from the out-of-town consultant. I'm the guy that lives here and keeps coming back and gives you money. So, thank you, Gene.
Gene, you did great, buddy.
You did. You did. We couldn't get along without him. What Gene brings to this process is reality and his out-of-townness. We see each other a lot. This is the third time this week I've seen Rachel, and I'll see her again tomorrow at the ASAP meeting. And we get to believe in our own stuff after a while, that, we are this good because we do these things. Well, sure we did, because and Gene will sit in our meetings and said, you may be right, but you're not really right. And he challenges us, which is exactly what any group needs, a challenge of our reality. And to help us see a new vision, a different vision than the one that perhaps we've been using for the last several years. Let me put just a little bit of Franklin County on that structure. And I'm going to refer you in your packet. I included an op-ed that Amelia Berry, you know that name, from Just Say Yes, that she and I wrote as part of this project, and it's the first of several that we're going to be writing. But what it does is it talks about mobilizing our community, and the plan is for an opioid plan for 2039, which is when the opioid abatement funding runs out, both state, local, and county. And we hope, our intent is, that by the time those funds run out, that this community won't be recognizable with regard to its opioid issue. That'll be in the history books. That'll be something that we've remembered and we talked about, and you remember when. But that we've got a seamless structure within the community that responds to whatever the issues of the day are regarding substances, but relies heavily on prevention, and we've already begun to see a tremendous change in the uptake of substances as people get older, because we're preventing them at a younger age. And as Amelia put a phrase in the op-ed that we wrote, it's not just committees, it's a movement. It's a sense of motion, of constant reexamination. He mentioned the 4 pillars, and let me put some names and faces to that. In our prevention pillar. The group that are people that are, there's about 20 members that make up that group right now, and the chair is Amelia Berry, and you know that name from Just Say Yes, and Elizabeth Troublehorn from Wanda Joyce Robinson Foundation. The risk reduction is led by Abby Penk, who's the harm reduction specialist at the health department, and Shelley Hearn and Trish Hamilton. You know those names. They're the policing advocates, and they do the QRT programs where when people have overdoses, they go out and work with the families. On the treatment side, we were relying on Kelly and Ashley King, and their schedules are just crazy. So we brought in a little bit of help from New Vista to help with that part of it, and that's begun to move again. We had a meeting last week. On the recovery side, which is probably the most significant piece, as you remember his circle, everything comes back to recovery and to prevent the loss of recovery. But on the recovery side, we have Amanda Dunn from Just Say Yes and Ned Pence from the Recovery Cafe. All phenomenal resources within our community that are sitting down together talking about where do they fit? Where does this issue fit within those exact pillars? All of them have met. We're going to meet again tomorrow after the ASAP meeting. But what we're seeing, we're seeing some gaps, as Gene said we probably would. There's some that we didn't expect to see, but we are seeing some gaps, things that we need to work on. Things that, how are people getting to treatment? Do we have the right kind of transportation? Do we have enough services for them? What are we doing about child care? All of those issues with regard to treatment and then long-term recovery. The issue of transportation is not a new one to any of you or us, and there have already been some suggestions made as to how we might solve that problem. We had an impromptu meeting the other day, and I think we've got the beginnings of some excitement about how we can go about it. We don't need to buy a van tonight. That's not the solution. What we need to understand is who's trying to get where, when, and then build on that process, because these things are overlaying one another throughout the community. So that's where we are. We'll come back. We're expecting probably, Judge, in April to be having the large county-wide meeting that we've been talking about, but we want to come back to you in March a couple of times and refine kind of where we are and what some of the strategies are. There are some significant gaps that need to be addressed that we can't handle. And it's going to take the community and maybe the fiscal court to help us with that. So let me stop and to see if you have any questions.
Well, first I want to say thank you to Gene and Charlie. I mean, we talk all the time. I think this is one of those things that we're doing a really good job at, and I don't think we've told our story enough. You know, I mean, Gene even said we're probably 2 years ahead of most communities in the state. You know, we got a lot of good things going on. We have a lot of difficulties we need to figure out. But to your point, Charlie, I mean, we have a lot of great resources in this community, and they're finally to the point that they're working together. You know what I mean? They're finally, I feel like, rowing in the same direction. Everybody's communicating. They're talking to each other. They're calling each other. That didn't happen before all this, really. Everyone was kind of doing their own thing and talking once a year, maybe. So I do think this is a really, really good thing. So I appreciate both of your hard work, in addition to a lot of people in this room.
Well, thank you. And the opioid funds has created an opportunity. I mean, it's a generational change. But what it taught us very quickly was that collaboration need not be a dirty word. It was a requirement.
Yeah.
Because they keep reducing those funds, as you all well know from things I've said in the past. They keep reducing your awards if you continue to do the same things, and that means you've got to rely on one another.
Yeah.
So we've learned how to do that, and not only that, not just learned, but grown from it. You know, our programs are stronger because we've done that.
And I will say, you touched a little bit on transportation. That's the one thing that keeps coming up in every pillar. Every pillar is transportation. It's getting kids from school to Boys and Girls Club or Wanda Joyce, or getting them home afterwards all over the county, or it's a single mother who can't get home from work because of, there's no ride. So I do know I talked to Amy Snow today. Her and Amelia are meeting next week to really try to do it. Mike Feldman's going to, Tuesday's a board meeting for the transit. So everyone's kind of just compiling some information, but I think to Charlie's point, we need to see what the exact problem is, and then kind of use, we've met with the school systems, how they potentially could help. So I think it's going to take everybody hands-on. It's not going to be one thing fixes it all, to your point. So
yeah, Andrew, go to the next slide. I just want to show real quick. I mentioned the op-ed, and I mentioned that there's a website that we're about to launch, and this is. Just go ahead and scroll down through there a little bit, Andrew. There's four you're gonna be able to see the plan as it evolves. Each pillar's gonna have its own page. You're gonna be able to see when they're meeting, how they're meeting, what they're talking about, what the emerging priorities are, all of those sorts of things in that website. So that's gonna be launched here in about the next week.
That's great. All right, Court, what questions we have for Gene or Charlie on this, most important topic in front of us? Squire Tanner?
I always got a question, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I've been, of course, we have a copy of the op-ed here on our device, and it talks about, it's the 2039 date is determined from the settlement funds from the opioid suits. Is that, I'm sure that's pretty right.
Yeah.
Because they've given us a date we got to work with when the money runs out.
Right.
The other, that's a statement, not a question, I guess. But it talks about in this op-ed that it's, talks about the opioid alliance.
Right.
So then, if you're addicted to something other than the opioids, can you even tell it?
That's a great question. The Recovery Cafe, are you familiar with that? That's now housed at the Episcopalian Church of the Ascension. I will steal their definition of recovery. It's whatever you're recovering from.
Okay,
Right. So when we say opioid alliance, that's why that phrase was used, because we were applying for money that came from opioid manufacturers. That's what the settlement is about. That's all opioid manufacturers who have had to pay into that settlement. So everything we do when we spend that money must go towards mitigating the problem that they created with opioids. Okay. But in the context of what we're trying to do, recovery is recovery, treatment is treatment, prevention is prevention, and so that falls into all substances, all issues.
I was assuming that would be correct, but I wanted to make sure. I don't know you could tell the difference. If somebody's addicted or not.
Yeah. This gentleman will tell you.
So, I'm sure you recall, you think back to circa 2001 through 2005, everything was about methamphetamines. People were, pop bottle meth, manufacturing it, and, you'd end up losing property because it's contaminated for 20 years. And then we shifted into the opioid crisis. And at first it was the prescription pills, which really kind of ignited it all. And that's really where the settlements themselves stem from. But, the state created what we call the Casper system, which was a really good, it was a model for the rest of the country on how to do a good prescription monitoring program. But, as soon as that got plugged, it switched over to heroin. And then, they started doing a good job of plugging regular heroin. And then the market shifted to fentanyl because it's cheaper to manufacture and cheaper to produce because it's synthetic. And every day there's some new derivative of fentanyl too. There's things like xylazine. So, and you can go back further than that. You can go back all the way to the founding of the country. There's always been just this cyclical thing here in the United States of like, what is the flavor of the day? In the 80s, it was the crack cocaine epidemic, and then before that, it was regular cocaine, and it goes on and on. The vast majority of people, individuals that you end up serving, though, have, to a greater or lesser degree, what we think of and call polysubstance abuse, which just means many. I'm also in recovery, and when I was wilding out, I had my favorite flavor of ice cream, but if I wanted ice cream, I was going to eat whatever ice cream I could get hold of.
All righty. Anything
Ice
else?
cream line.
Squire Wisman.
Maybe just related to that, Charlie, could you speak a little bit about the post plans after 2039 and maybe specifically state that this, just because we have funds for opioid addiction is not what we're planning to treat independently.
Oh, yeah.
That it is a much larger
Right.
basis of problem that extends from childhood and exposure and
Exactly.
all these kinds of things that we're finally maybe trying to tackle for the first time in our
Exactly.
nation's history, I would say. through all of these other parameters and youth prevention and trying to get well ahead of the problem before it ever exists. So walk us through just a little bit about what that looks like to you for the next 13 years and beyond, because I imagine it's going to be, we're committing ourselves to a generational
We are for a
thing
fact.
here.
And that was the essence of the op-ed, in the sense of we don't want to miss this opportunity to recreate our environment when Just Say Yes and other prevention programs that you've heard Amelia come in here and talk about, the Icelandic model and all those sorts of things. The essence of that is that we want to either slow down or stop the early adaptation of any substances in youth. Because the older, I mean, if you can delay that to an older age, the chances of there being a problem are going to be less. You know, the problem starts when you get people addicted or connected to it, 10, 11, 12, and all those sorts of things. So that's a huge part of this, and we're seeing it, and not just in Franklin County, but nationally, is that the age of use is changing. It's us old people. I mean, it's at 45 and up and all that sort of stuff. We're really making a good progress. So the intent here is for the vision is no substances or very limited exposure to substances as youth graduate, as youth move through our community. If there are those who are addicted or who come in contact with exposure to substances, that wherever they hit within the ecosystem, the ER, workplace, home, church, wherever that might be, wherever that issue is exposed, treatment is available or referral is available. We don't have to start asking, well, what do I do now? We know what we do now, and that treatment is not only available, but funded, and effective. And more importantly, that after that treatment is that there is a recovery community that accepts them and says, we're here to help you maintain that recovery so that you are not restarting that circle all over again. So that's what the vision is. It's the connectional, it's an assumption. I mean, we don't want it to be the difference, we want it to be the norm. We want that circle to be the norm, that we move very, very easily and connectedly through all of the nodes that help people not only identify, but be treated and then get into long-term recovery and become productive.
Charlie, let me ask you, Amelia's worked on Iceland prevention
Oh,
for
yeah.
many years.
Right.
I mean, she's been there, they've been here. How many years? Was that a 20-year turnaround? Do you
Oh,
remember?
yeah, and they're still working on it.
Yeah,
it was.
but they went from basically the worst country for
yeah.
addiction to one of the best.
Yeah, they were at
correct?
14% of their youth were alcoholic, and now they're down to about 2% who are using.
Yeah.
And part of it is that they completely ignored what was going on in the community. So when they realized it, but you're right, it was consistency. It took 8 years to see a huge dip,
Yeah.
and now it's been over 20 years that they are continuing to do what they do and have taught us to do, and that line continues to stay down at the 2% level. But it took a cultural change,
Yeah.
And that's what we're looking for.
Charlie, thank you all for everything, all the time and energy and hours and you're putting in this. It's going to change our community indefinitely, and I'm very keen on finding some solutions at the immediate.
Yeah, right. Oh, yes.
I have this district that is downtown and the
Yes.
far reaches of
Yes.
the county that I'm always thinking about where are we missing.
I understand.
We're always too cognizant of our bowl in our city and less of our rural areas, and so I'm wanting to make sure that whatever we do serves everyone.
And I spoke at the recovery rally the other day, and the point that I made was that addiction is a disease of isolation.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to be isolated these days in the county, in the snow, during
suburbs.
COVID. I mean, it's just, and that all fuels it. The anecdote is community.
My question immediately is that we've had some folks talk to it tonight, and we had a proposal to us before already for this net recovery device and funding it. I would like to move some of our money to do that immediately and try to tackle some of the people that are struggling today. And I don't think that many of our plans are quite there to address all issues at
Right.
the exact moment.
Sure.
So I guess my question is your opinion of what this this body should do to commit funds. We're sitting on $500,000 that obviously we want to use to best value
Sure.
long-term, but in my mind, people are struggling now that need help, and I want to put some money to it.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know
would-
the rest of the feeling, but I would like your opinion.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'm not a treatment person, so I'm not in that world. I would listen to the people who are experts and who have had experience. I know that you funded the net recovery device before, and you've had some success with it. I think originally, the greatest success was in the jail, because you had to have people that were actively using in order to get started. But I think any solution is anything that can contribute to people getting away from the dependency is a great thing. I mean, there's no one solution in that process. I mean, it needs to be safe, it needs to be valid, it needs to be effective, but other than that, I can't give you an opinion about it.
Gene, could you maybe speak to what communities around us have decided to do? I'm hearing that some of the other areas within the ads district are going all in on maybe this net recovery at the beginning and, you know, money set aside for later projects, but I'm just wondering kind of where we are falling in terms of the bigger scope regionally too. If you could speak to that maybe a little bit.
I do know that we, in Bluegrass's ad service area, there's at least 4 communities that I know of that have committed funds to the use of the net recovery device. I, like Charlie, I'm a public administrator. So, you know, as to questions of medical or clinical effectiveness, I can't give you a professional opinion. I've personally gone out of my way to meet those folks, and you know, they walked me through their data and through their study. I think the device itself provides a meaningful alternative to other forms of medication. You know, the part of an opinion that I do feel comfortable sharing, and you know, I say this publicly when I give presentations, really anywhere, nobody cared about this until 20 years ago. And so many people have died, and often died horribly. You know, more United States citizens have died from the opioid epidemic than the sum total of every combat death in every war since the American Revolution. And none of us are really well equipped to handle that level of horror. No human being is. The truest answer is that nobody knows, and nobody knows what will be the most effective thing for a particular individual. In the broadest sense, really to echo some of your own comments, you know, the greatest hope, you know, about 15 years ago, this turned into reality for all of us. And we all spend a great deal of time alone, surrounded by many people. And that got unleashed on the kids. And broadly, I think that we forgot how to be people, and we forgot how to be a community, and we're all having to relearn how to do that together. And I could go on here all night. Like, the things that I am well versed on are the concepts of what's called recovery capital, and is very almost identical to the Icelandic model. It is all focused on how do we figure out how to be people productively together again. And, you know, I think America got hit hard with it because we had a lot of other priorities. Probably not a satisfying answer, but that is my answer.
And this gentleman said it best, that you know, he has seen the different means by which people stop. That's the issue. But once you're stopped, what happens? And that's the part that we've been talking about here. How do we take someone who has stopped, who is no longer sick, who is no longer in withdrawal, and then move them forward to be productive, to be taxpayers, to make sure that they do not lapse. They get their kids back, all the stuff that comes with addiction. That's what all this infrastructure and all these committees, and that's what all this talking is about, this recovery environment that we want, because regardless of how you get stopped, that has to take place. Those services have to be there.
Squire Harris?
It's just an opinion or statement, question, I don't know really how to form this, but we only have a certain amount of money that we've got. We don't know what we're gonna get, if we're gonna get any more. My question, what's wrong, Kelly? My question is, the net device is a good thing, I see no problem with that, but we give to so many nonprofits in the county. You know, from Wanda Joyce to everybody that we give to. I'm not trying to just name names. But I don't know what the best direction is on, you know, these people are relying on us for this money every year. When we run out of the money, the people that they hired and the people that have jobs, and where do we go with that?
Well, and
How do you fix that?
Well, and that's part and parcel of what we've realized too, is that this money will end, and when that ends, we don't want all the good to stop. The good has to be embedded within the community through this ecosystem shift that we're trying to work on here, so that regardless of how the funding, whatever the funding is, even if there are no funds, that we've changed the environment enough that people aren't going to need the level of focus that we're all putting into this now. I mean, the state has $1 billion, you know, that they've received, and that's a huge amount of money to pay for the sins of the past, and we don't want to squander it. So but you're absolutely right. We don't want to use it to do something today, only to not have that tomorrow.
That's my thought. And it's not that I'm against any of it, because
No,
I'm
no,
not.
no.
I don't know the right answer. You know, you've got one group wanting to do one thing, one wanting to do another. We're not trying to hold on to the money.
No.
We want it to work and help people. But in which direction, you know, I guess that's the golden answer.
Well, and we're helping. We're trying to get to there.
That's the ultimate objective of organizing folks into the pillars, because, you know, even the state does, like right now over at the Capitol, you know, they're moving forward a joint resolution to do a fiscal map of the entire state on the spending, because nobody knows, because all this money comes from so many different places. There are state programs, there are federal programs. Those federal programs come from different parts of the federal government, and those parts of the federal government don't talk to each other. And then you have parts of the state government that don't talk to each other, and all that kind of stuff filters down here to the local level. And ultimately, we are trying to answer your question, but because there are so many just different variables, it's going to take us a little time to answer it.
Well, and to your point, sort of the Opioid Abatement Commission has been, they put out $12 million last year in response to grants. Those are individual communities that are coming forward and saying, here's my idea, help, you know, fund this. And so they give out this and this and this and this. They had the same thought that you did. They said, wait a minute, we're just responding to what all of these individuals are saying. And these are good folks with experience in the community, and they're helping their community. But what's the bigger picture? Is there a bigger picture? So they created a strategic initiative on what is it that we could be doing in the big term. Where could we put some real money, like the $3 and the $4 million level, that would help the entire state? And fortunately, I've got myself on that task force, so I'm fortunately we're two or three meetings in, but there's some wonderful ideas about how do we change how the state works. You know, services that perhaps none of us have even thought about that would really make this thing a whole very different picture.
I'm just trying to think with the money that we have.
Oh, I understand.
What is the best direction to go in? Where to, you know, I'm all for.
I ask every time we meet, and they
I'm
said,
all
slow
for keeping
down,
people
we're getting
alive,
there.
and
We're gonna get there.
I'm for keeping kids out of it. I just don't know
I
the best,
understand.
you know, because you only have so much.
Squire Wisman.
My last question to you all, while we have you here, then maybe is, one of my concerns is the state and the feds are looking at other programs and create other avenues for us to tackle this whole ball of wax, right? But my bigger concern is we're still sitting on a big, fairly substantial pot of money. What are your all's feelings about the need to spend that down to be eligible for future funds coming down the pike for different programs? Or is that a concern right now? It probably isn't at the moment,
No,
but
I don't
I'm
think
wondering.
that's a concern. If it's a good idea, spend it. You know, it's a good idea, fund it. If you've got a problem that you can solve this year, solve it. I mean, I think you go with what you've got. There will be, you know, opportunity for us to have some bigger dreams. I mean, that's what we're trying to figure out. How does the Wanda Joyce picture that you have helped fund fit into the Just Say Yes picture that you helped fund? And, you know, all those things have got to fit together, or we're not going to have. We're going to end up with those silos that we started out with. And that's the part we don't want to do.
Yeah, I never look at it as an either or. I had a wonderful manager once upon a time that really beat that out of me. But you know, it's a good, better, best. We know how to build roads. You know, we know how to do banking. There are all these things in the world that we know how to do really well because they've got hundreds or more years of just experience behind them. But this just doesn't. It has only been taken seriously for about 20 years. And, you know, I would love to be able to tell people that I know. I have a fairly good idea that I can have a lot of evidence that encourages it, and it is largely what you're already doing, which is, you know, organizing these people in such a way that they have to communicate effectively together, and that to, you know, ideally, you know, in the future, you know, a petition to this court for the use of those funds specifically will have made its way through that elaborate process so that you have a consensus of the majority of the people that are working on this that have all agreed that this is something that you should do. That's ultimately what we're trying to accomplish. It's just a lot of information.
We're done, Judge.
Okay, I think we have one more. Squardikis.
I just want to tell the court, because I have been kind of involved in this for a long time, one of the things that I think this community has always done really, really well, and the reason that this is going so well and you guys are doing all the work that you're doing is because we have so many people in the background working to love and support people in this community. And I mean, I'm not, that is not a stretch in any way. I get calls all day, every day. I make calls all day, every day to get people the support that they need. And I mean, what you guys are doing is beautiful. It's wonderful. I love it. But I want you all to know, because it's not what you do all day long, that we have the best community when it comes to this. People know that there are people in this community that will love and support them through this and will not judge them. And I think that is the best thing we can do here. All the rest of it's extra. But I appreciate what you guys do very much.
Squire, thank you. I'm going to tell you one quick other thing. One of the first times I talked to Gene, he said he got a phone call from somebody else. And they said, I see what you're doing in Franklin County. You know, can we do it in our community? He said, probably not. He said, you don't have the infrastructure and the love that has been going on for 20 years here. And he said, in order to mimic that, you have to have people that really care and that want to do it like Rachel. She took it upon herself to open that new place. You know, it takes people like that to make this happen. And so, you know, Gene came in and Charlie's been with it the whole time, but you know, they're really just trying to organize. We're trying to figure out the best things that we can do with those funds. So I think everybody wants to do right, and we're getting close. We're getting close. So, gentlemen, thank you very much for all you do, and thank you for coming tonight.
We'll be back in the morning.
Alrighty, next I believe we have Mr. Chuck Knowles and Matt, I apologize, can't remember your last name. McCracken. Yeah, McCracken, okay. And so they came to me a while back. They are involved with the Second Street project, the renovation.
Home Street.
Home Street, I'm sorry, thank you. Yeah, that was the last one you did, Second Street, that's what made me think of it.
That one's done.
That's done, yeah. So the Home Street project, and there's a little piece, they're having to get some easements pretty much off of most of the people up and down that road, so they presented, and Chuck, go
I
ahead.
really wanted to say, I didn't.
Take it away.
Sure. Good afternoon. Again, my name is Chuck Knowles. I am a project manager for the city of Frankfort. With me tonight is Matt McMacken. He is a project manager and project engineer for Strand Associates. We appreciate the opportunity to discuss the county's involvement, so to speak, in, as the judge mentioned, in the High Street, Home Street corridor transportation project. That's taking a major transportation investment to reconstruct the High Street, Home Street corridor. That corridor is divided into two phases because of the funding. We couldn't go after one big lump of grant funding. We had to split it in two. But Strand is currently working on the final design for the entire corridor, and they are active in the right-of-way acquisition on Phase 1, which is between Miro Street on Home Street, between Miro and Henry Street. So this project design impacts 90 parcels. They're having to deal with 90 property owners to go through the federally mandated right-of-way acquisition process, which, if you've not been through that process, it is sticky. So they're checking all the boxes and making sure that is being bought according to those regulations. One of those parcels, as the judge mentioned, is parcel 59. It is the county-owned property there at the corner of Mayor and Home Street. This project is impacting just the front piece of that. We're taking, I don't know, maybe how much, 10, 12 feet, something like that?
Square footage?
No,
20.
depth.
I don't remember exactly.
Okay. Yeah, but it's
the portion in front of where the fence is right now.
Yeah. So anyway, we have previously provided county government the documents that you all need to consider and to take action on that based on the appraised amount and how you all want to handle that. So anyway, Matt, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think you said it pretty well here or there. Where I'm just here dealing with that one parcel tonight. But that there is an offer that was presented to purchase that property on behalf of the city of Frankfort, and also working closely with the transportation cabinet, because they're the ones that have the process that we follow for this whenever there's right-of-way acquired for a transportation project. And also it is their road, a state highway. So really why we're here tonight is to answer any questions you all may have, and then to ask you for really a decision on how you want to move forward with the offer that was presented. Whether you want to accept that counteroffer back and just make a decision on that, so we can move forward with the project and get a little bit closer to getting all this right away clear, so we can get towards construction.
All right, thank you, Matt. So, like Chuck said, we had met a while back. We looked at it, like Matt stated tonight. It's really property that's not even fenced off right now. It's kind of in a right-of-way. We kind of overlaid it. I know we have a deal with Winterwood for the housing project. We overlaid it with that. It's not going to interfere with that project at all. So, just want to give you all some background of what I know about it, so. Squire Sebastian.
Thank you, Judge. And we did look at a slide deck and discuss this in the strategic planning.
Okay.
So
Yep.
we're somewhat familiar with the needs of, and it's like 2,500 square feet
Yeah,
total.
it's not
I mean,
much.
it's a really small,
Yeah.
and it's contiguous to Home Street. They need that.
Yeah.
They need that. And there were a couple of different drawings that we looked at for that in the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up. So do we have any questions for Matt or Chuck right now? I mean, I could lead it off like Squire Sebastian said. I mean, I'm fine with the offer. I mean, I think this is a great project. It's going to improve the complete Home Street, from start to finish pretty much. And this is just, they wouldn't be here if we didn't own this piece of property. So it's really not bad. I know there's other properties along Home Street that people are probably in shock because they just assume they owned a lot of it and they didn't, so for me, it's I'm fine with it. So y'all have any discussions? Squire Wisman.
Well, first, could we ask some questions? Chuck, maybe could you answer for us? There's been a lot of rumor. I've been following the project pretty significantly, but is both phases fully funded for final design and all of it's moving forward, or there was a clawback initially, one of the phases, right, from the federal government?
As I said a minute ago,
happened?
we had to split the corridor up into two pieces because it was so large. It was going to be such a large investment. And so we did have both Phase 1 between Miro and Henry Street fully funded. But then congressional action last year rescinded the grant program for which was going to pay for construction. So we lost about $16 million there. Phase 2 is completely funded. They're beginning final design and we're working on that. We have got 2 opportunities to go ask for more federal funding to replace the rescinded construction funding. One is with the Transportation Alternatives Program, TAP program with Transportation Cabinet. We've already applied for that, and then we are getting ready to apply for a USDOT build grant Tuesday. We're going to submit that application. So hoping we get one or the other so that we can fully replace that $16 million that we lost. That's the construction piece of phase 1 is the only thing that's not funded. And we were hoping to go to construction sometime early next year, 2027. So they've got to have final design and right-of-way done by July roughly. And so then if we don't apply for construction funding by September 30th, the project could be in jeopardy. So that's what they're working toward.
So where, within the scope of the project, phase 1 is funded for construction, phase 2 is funded for construction?
Yes.
Where does that stop and end?
Phase 2 starts High Street from Main Street down to Miro, and then it picks up the rest of Home Street from Henry Street out to the interchange at 127. So that entire corridor from Main Street all the way out to 127 interchange will be reconstructed.
So this request for this easement is within the scope of that? Or is there already action to acquire easements for the whole corridor, whether it's funded or not?
We only have approval from Federal Highway Administration to acquire right-of-way for phase 1, which is from Miro to Henry Street, and that's where your all's parcel comes in.
And thanks, I'm fielding a whole lot of questions from a lot of people I know down there, so I'm just trying to put things out for folks so they know, because there's lots of questions.
Too, so.
I know. Within the scope of the design of this easement looks like it comes onto our property only to afford a median, a 24-inch median in the middle of the street that doesn't exist there now. Is that absolutely necessary, or is that some, if we decide not to give this over, I'm assuming that goes away and the road still stays as it is?
Well, once you talk about the design right there, the application.
So there's a couple different things going on, and the first of that is the median for the crossing, but the other is that there's no sidewalks on that portion of Home Street at all, and this is a complete street project that's attempting to provide methods of transportation for all users, for vehicles, pedestrians, bicycles, everyone who needs it for transit. And so part of that's establishing a 10-foot wide path for bikes and pedestrians on that side of the road. So that's a majority of what that's needed for, is to be able to put that path on your all side of the road. Part of the issue when you start to look at installing sidewalks everywhere and wanting to get more pedestrians able to use the facility is you also need to think about safety with traffic and being able to get across the road, being able to get where you need to go. And being a little bit more of a major intersection there where we're going to build the entrance in, and you all are working to build more housing there as well. We expect a lot of crossing at that location, and what we have when you come in off the bypass is you're going 55 down the hill. Hopefully you're going 55 down the hill, could be going faster than that. But then you come all the way directly into Home Street into a residential section where you need to slow down immediately. So part of the project is these intermittent traffic calming measures to help make the crossing easier, slow down vehicles, and address that issue. So that's needed for that reason.
And just a couple more questions if I can, Judge. Just what is the fall date effectively for you all to, if you could reiterate, just to acquire easements and for final design completion?
Everything needs to be buttoned up by the fall of 2026 so that it can be bid, construction funding pending, but so it can be bid and break ground in the first of 2027.
So when are your preliminary road designs are already done, you're acquiring easements, you don't acquire some, it's going to affect the design, you do acquire, that'll change things, whatever it is, the 50-some parcels you said are going to affect that. How does, I guess the question is, when are you trying to acquire all those by? Those, or Chuck, either one of you?
By July.
By the end of July this year, okay.
And so two things I want to clarify there is the first is this is a fee simple purchase from the county, not an easement. So it would become public right of way. And also that, the cabinet in partnership with the city has determined that this project does need to move forward. So not purchasing these easements is not an option. So if a property owner does have issue with either the offer or anything else about it, that we need to go through a condemnation proceeding to have them both able to hear both sides.
That's what I was trying to get you to. Thanks.
Yeah.
And then finally, this is
The
fee
reason
simple,
I'm-
as you said. Sorry, go ahead. If you.
I apologize. The reason I'm being a little bit careful here is I'm not entirely clear on how that all works with levels of government. Where I don't know if that kind of proceeding would be applicable with this parcel, but people looking to ask questions about other parcels, that is how that works with private
That was
owners.
the question I'm getting the most often, so that's what I was trying to get you to.
But ultimately, if people have questions, we could get your contact information out. You or Chuck, right? 'Cause you're the ones that are gonna deal with things. Yeah.
So what Chuck can provide too, as our right-of-way project manager with Strand is Jamie Cash.
Okay.
And so he would be the point of contact for any other parcel. I'm here as liaison for this piece of property.
Yeah. I'm just throwing it out there, because there is people watching, so if somebody had questions,
Right.
they could probably reach out to Chuck Knowles at the city, and he could direct them.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So Judge, this is a fee simple. There's been some conversation in the past that I've been in about, whenever a local government transfers a property, if a project ultimately doesn't happen, that it would be nice to have a revision clause if the local government gets that property back rather than it being sold to somebody else or something. I'm wondering if we could stick a revision clause that if this, somehow this funding, because we have that experience that we already lost a big significant part of the federal funding of this project and others in this county, if this project doesn't get over the hurdle, that we would have right to get this back, to contribute to our project that's going on there. And there is some implication or impact to the design now for entrance and exit into our project that is concerning to me a little bit. So just wanted to ask if we could add that to the deed transfer.
But ultimately, let me get this right, so let's say we agree, to let you all purchase it, it goes in the city's name, who actually holds it? City?
So the city of Frankfurt will purchase it.
Yeah.
And then after the project is built and complete, it is a state route, so the city will deed the right-of-way to the transportation cabinet,
Okay.
or to the Commonwealth and for the benefit and use of.
I guess, Squire, my only thing is, we're gonna be well past gone, we'll be building by the time, if they weren't to get it funded, our thing's gonna be moving.
You just never know. None of us expected to lose all this federal money either, right, in the last couple of years. So I've seen that be a community and a point of contention in this community in the past, when property was transferred to another governmental unit, let's say.
Yeah.
And then they ultimately did something with it that wasn't within the scope or the benefit of the original owner. So just learned from that lesson and would like to see that clause
Squire Tam,
added.
did you have your name up, your hand up, I'm sorry? No? I thought Squire Tam did.
No,
What are y'all thoughts about what Squire Wiseman's asking? What are your thoughts? Would that be a big deal to put that in there if for some reason over 5 years it doesn't get funded or something, or is that
Just ultimately.
just throwing it out there?
It's a request that I have to bring, that's subject to approval of the cabinet and I suppose the city attorney as well.
Yeah. What's the rest of the court thoughts?
I thought if we pledged the right-of-way to sell the right-of-way, sign a memorandum of agreement that we're gonna sell that once this project's approved, that's not actually what we wanna do. We actually wanna change the money now.
Transfer the
Yes.
property now.
Yeah, I don't see a big problem. I really
Yeah,
don't,
it's
because
kinda
it's
in the middle of the street. I don't know if it'll
very,
affect us at all.
very thin piece of property, and even if we sell that, I don't know what the rest of the court thinking, but anyway, we'll have to discuss that a little more, but, if it collapses, then it'll be another effort later on. Then that right away will be gone. It'll be somebody else's then, so.
Any thoughts?
I don't think it affects anything, whether we sell it or don't sell it. Well, if we don't do it, it does, but.
Are y'all fine just the way it is? That's what I'm trying to get a gauge here. I see head shaking. I don't hear any. Okay.
I understand you have to think about all the contingencies, but we're very positive that we're going to get the construction funding for that. Federal government's already committed a lot of federal funds to phase 2, and they already committed $4.5 million to do design and right-of-way acquisition on phase 1. So they're in this thing, and I think we're positive of getting construction funding is gonna replace what we lost.
And Squire, I see your point, and I think for me, if it was a buildable piece of land or something else, you know, not just 250 square feet, I'd probably be right there with you, you know what I mean, but.
Well, it's our entire road frontage of this property that we're giving away, that we're not gonna control. Maybe we'll control at some point just the access, but, you know, design is, for the roadway is already effectively done. It's creating a four-way intersection, I get that. That'll benefit our project. But it concerns me, we're giving away our entire road frontage when we're actively building a project to another entity, and things are up in the air. The whole federal government's up in the air, we know,
That's true.
right? So,
Yeah.
I'm just saying I'm cautious. You
Yeah,
have to do what you want. but
Understandable. All right, so looking
seen it go
around.
the wrong way recently.
Squire Sebastian. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Judge. You know, I think Squire Wisman's raised a valid point. You know, we don't have the crystal ball about this, and we don't know when the funding will come through, and we don't want to have a negative impact on the project that we are trying to push through.
I agree.
If there are barricades or something that go
Not to do
go
it,
up
not
on
to
this
do it.
site when we're trying to get construction vehicles and other things in. So I think he has a valid point.
What are thoughts of
So
the court?
I'll say that.
It only affects us if it doesn't go through. And that's, like she said, no crystal ball.
That's
I
it.
mean, we're not giving away our road frontage unless they don't build the road. If the road's
Yeah.
not built, then we gave away our road frontage.
Right.
So it's a either or. I know it has to go through a process, and we don't need to be a bump in your acquisition of all these
Right.
properties.
Not in any
You're
way.
just acquiring the left side of the road, right? The south side, southeast side of the road.
Yeah, most of the taking is on, the south side.
So it's
That's where we're widening.
It's hugely important for the project, and I don't want to stop it or slow it down in any way. But at the same time, that's just another line in the contract to say if it doesn't go through, you know,
And everybody
we exchange the money and take it back.
has the opportunity to see the map and realizes that's it. It landlocks us.
Yeah.
Just,
So is that a consensus of the court? We're gonna ask Matt to go back to his people and just put a clause in there if it, for some reason, doesn't go within 5 years or something, that we exchange money back? I'm just trying to get y'all's feel.
I just want to be clear, we're just talking about it will just revert back if that doesn't happen,
We
correct?
give them the money back, yeah, and it'll just
Yeah.
revert back.
That's a,
And not it, I think we can move forward with it without a contingency of the clause, as long as the city will accept it and the state. I just am concerned that,
I
just
think
don't
we
know
have to have
right
the
now.
clause.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
clause has
Just
got
don't
to be in the
I was
agreement. Because everybody here will potentially be gone,
Yeah.
could be gone.
Right.
And memories tend to fade on small details like this.
So, you good with that?
Okay.
I know it's
Yeah,
not what you wanted to hear, but I mean, I don't see it being that
I'm
big
the,
a
I'm the
deal.
go-between here, so
Yeah,
I'll bring that back and I'll give you an answer on
Kills
whether that's
anything.
acceptable or not.
Yeah.
so do you all,
To who?
yeah, I'm
To
trying
the
to
city
say,
and to the transportation cabinet. Yep, so there's,
Transportation driving this bus.
right,
Yeah.
that's the other thing I want to emphasize here when I say
Is
it's a, you
this,
know,
the money being used to purchase this right away from us, is that city money now, or is that a grant they've got for that money?
It's federal-
Where's the money coming
it's
from?
federal money.
it's
it's
federal
federal
money
money.
that was awarded to the state and administers by the state,
Right.
and so the state then awarded the
They
city of
gave,
Frankfurt.
so it's actually federal money, it's not Frankfurt City taxpayers' money, it's federal, other than their part, but.
Primarily, the city has a
Prim-
match also, so there's some local money in there as well. But
Well,
it's
they had to
mostly
match
federal.
some of it, okay.
all right, can I ask the court a question then? Can we, and I'm just trying to keep this thing moving for you all, can we, and more, I'm gonna lean on you a little bit here, can they give me the authority to sign it contingent on that changes be made in the document and our county attorney review it before? Go ahead, Squire.
Thank you, Judge. We did that in the last court meeting.
Yeah.
That very thing
Yeah.
that you said.
Yeah.
So, and we've done that in other court meetings.
Yeah.
So I think that would, if it's amenable to the court, that
Yeah.
follows past practice and protocol
Yeah.
that we've had for the entire term of this court.
Yep, I just wanted to make sure. Are you all okay with that?
Just to be clear,
Go
you're
ahead.
talking about the sales contract, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
And I'm-
basically, when we vote on it, we would say contingent on the city agreeing that it would revert back if it was not sold, you know,
I think
it's
it's
a
city
project.
and the
State transportation cabinet, it would revert back and we'd give the money back, if it wasn't built in, say, 5 years. And then if not, then they would just come back to the next court and ask for it again.
Yeah.
Yes, so it can be in the sales contract, just like when you all did the property for the pool.
Okay. All right. Are you, go ahead, Squire, I'm sorry.
I don't want to do anything to slow down whatever's gonna happen out there. And if this is gonna throw mud on it or slow it down or dig the hole deeper, I'm for moving forward now.
But I think the out for that,
Go ahead,
thank you,
Squire.
thank you.
Yeah.
Is to allow the judge to proceed with that when they come back with the information. That does not slow it down in any way, as I understand it.
All right.
Maybe I'm
Now,
misunderstanding
unless,
something.
Chuck, let me ask you, like, what do you think, because you
I
made
bet
the
it'd
comment, you
take
have
a
to go
year
back
to
for
get an answer from
transportation.
transportation
How
department.
big of a, I mean, that was your career, like, is that just a phone call, or is that like a big ordeal?
Well, I'm assuming, Matt, because
Okay.
I'm technically out of the right-of-way acquisition process.
Yeah.
When property owners call me, I push them to the right-of-way agent.
Okay.
Matt, so, but how do you see that transportation will take this contingency on that?
I mean, the best I can do is I'll run it up the chain on my end. But given that it's a state route, the transportation cabinet's gonna have a real interest in how this goes. And normally when they're buying property for a roadway or a needed project, they need to have it in fee simple with no strings attached. So it's possible their answer is no. And I can't know that until I pass that up the chain and get an answer from them.
They've sold us 2 properties and on the same exact contingencies in recent years. Well, one to this
Yeah.
court and one to the city.
And it's only contingent
Yeah.
upon if they don't do what they
Right.
say they're gonna do.
Yeah.
You know?
Which
I mean,
is
it's
what they wanted.
And I'm not saying the answer is no, I don't know.
Exactly.
I'm just saying, it's a question either way, I don't know the
Right.
answer.
It's a good.
The question I've got is, how long is it gonna be before you know the answer to that? Are you ever gonna know it? Because if it goes to the transportation, they could fool around with it deciding for a long time. And I am not for holding this project up, because I don't think selling this right away contingent if something happens, because I know what goes on in Farmdale trying to get a sewer system over there. Nobody wants to sign the right away. You get down to one and holding the whole thing up. Not me. I am for it, right as it is.
Just, if it were to happen, that this project did go forward and the state owns that frontage, then all you would be doing is having access to public right of way, and just ask for an entrance permit. I mean, as typical anybody does, has to ask for an entrance permit to state right of way. So I'm not sure how that affects your access to the property.
I don't either, because
It's
they
just
probably
gonna-
already got that much right away
They've already
anyway.
got access to the
They've already got that much right away anyway.
Yeah.
The county's got
And you
right
can't
away.
landlock the
We don't
front,
block
so-
anybody. You cross the right away anytime.
Right.
It's just right of way. It don't mean that, we're selling a right of way.
It's just that it's gonna, blacktop is there now, it's gonna be there forever.
It seems like we have a little bit of consensus. My concern is valid. You all can get an answer. You don't have to have these finalized till July, you said. We've got plenty of time. You're actively engaging in conversations with transportation
Y'all
right now
kicking it down the road, not
on all
me.
these easements.
No, I'm not
Not me.
All these acquisitions, not easements, sorry.
What the timeline is right now, we're filing condemnation suits because we won't be done by July. So
Yeah.
that's where we are. We
Yeah.
already have a lot of deeds signed and checks written, and so we're well on the road. Getting this done.
Squire Sebastian.
I think where we're trying to go with this is to make sure that the project at the court is not going to be held up with some other strings because of projects that others want to see. And the thing is we would have access to our property from Gale Street.
We
It's
have 2
not.
access points.
We have 2 access
Correct.
points. We have access point through Gale Street.
Yep.
So we are not completely 100% landlocked. So if there seems to be some potential pushback, I'm willing to pull it off the table. So, because the key is I want to make sure we have access to what we need to do.
Yeah.
Because we need to move our project forward, just like you guys need to move what you all are doing forward. And we're right there, ready to step across the line on that.
Well, of course, your property is public property, and the state right of way is public property, so your public property is abutting. So
It's not like they're gonna come in and build a wall there.
Yeah.
It's just,
I don't think it'll
So-
amount to nothing.
Squire Blackburn.
So,
I don't know what they're gonna do, pour a concrete barrier there where
I'm
you
ready
can't
to
get across it,
move
so you
forward
don't
with what we
have.
have,
I'm in favor to go with it.
but I do
Yeah, I just want to
say it's a valid
understand,
point.
you did
Screw
mention
this up.
in this acquisition, it reverts to the city, then to the state,
After the project's
The city
complete.
will purchase the right of way right now through a deed.
right?
And then they
Once
do
the
the
project is built, my understanding is that's when the city will then dedicate all the right of way and deed that over to the state.
So
Because
if
it's
it's
a state
not
route.
built, does the city retain it, or does it go to the state?
City has no desire, you're talking about 90 parcels, okay?
No, I understand.
The city has no desire to have these strips of property in front of people's homes on our books. So, once the project's done, when they're done the right of way, we'll return it to the state property, it's in the state property.
Yeah, but Chuck, I
But
think
until then, it's
what
city
Squire's asking is, let's say you get all these easements, but you
Right.
never get it funded to build it,
Right.
because it would never be complete then. You're sitting on the easements then, right?
No, we'll get those transportation grants.
You still give
Will
them
they
to
take
them?
them?
You'll give them to them whether the project continues or not?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right,
Again, when you're talking 90 parcels, we have no
Yeah.
desire to have all that.
okay. Sounds like we're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks for coming.
Appreciate your time.
All righty, next, I believe on Zoom, Ally, you still with us?
Yeah, you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Ally went home not feeling the best today, so, sorry you're not feeling well, so, go ahead and do your thing.
It's okay, thank you guys. I hope everyone's doing well this evening. I won't take up too much of your time, but I am submitting my annual report this week to the Division of Waste Management. And so I think everyone has the state of solid waste, one pager in front of you. But basically what we saw was an increase of trash tonnage, and that would be due to the flood this year. And then we had a big increase in recycling tonnage, which is exciting, and a lot of that's due to the city resuming curbside collection. And then a lot of that is due to just our education efforts about the fact that Franklin County was still recycling, and combating that misinformation. And so, yeah, we have the overall diversion rate, so that's the amount of waste generated in the county that's not going to the landfill, so it's getting recycled or composted, 21.6. And then we also, you might notice for litter abatement, we had a higher number of miles and groups in 2025 than we normally do, and that's because the city did not apply for litter funds, and so the state sent us city litter funds as well as county. So I ended up having to do, for nonprofits, city limits and county limits this year. We had a lot more groups going out. And so this year the city did apply. So for 2026, I'm scheduling groups, just county limits. So kind of resuming that program as it was. But let me know if you guys have any questions about that data.
All right, Ally, thank you very much for that, and Squire Sebastian has her hand up first.
Thank you, Judge. If we'll look on this form under curbside trash, the last of the three items, it says 2,2112. So is it 22,112? Is there an extra number in there?
Morse code.
Yeah.
This is like different math
Oh,
for me.
Yeah. It's 2,211.2. So thank you for catching.
0.2. All right, thank you. I just, it's not showing up on mine, so maybe it's there.
No, it's not there. So thank you for catching that, and then I'll add that decimal in there before I put this out anyway.
It just looked odd. Thank you.
Squire Blackburn.
Ally, I wanted to thank you for all of the recycled Valentines we got. It was awesome. I really loved it. I had to go home and show my wife. It was cool.
Michael
But-
ate my Snickers
And, well,
as soon as I got home.
I had Starburst. They didn't make it home. But I wanted to ask you, for the yard waste tons collected, it's 2,422 tons, and then the users was 249. So, just doing simple math, is that like 9 tons per user? of yard waste?
Yeah, so it is about this, every week we see a couple of the same people every week. Just depending on who has bigger pieces of property in the county. And so, yeah, we have some individuals that are bringing a lot of limbs.
Okay. Those aren't businesses, those are like individuals, right?
Yeah, and we're verifying that.
Better.
9 tons, I mean, I've got a big truck, but that's several loads. That's a lot of loads.
Yeah, it's a lot. Residents sign a waiver every time they come, and they have to write their address, and then we will, like a contractor style truck, we turn it away. So at the road department, we say we don't do contractors, and so we send people back.
All right, Squire Wisman has a hand up.
Ally, thank you, and thank you for taking on the additional responsibility of the city's funds this year. The state was gracious enough just to see that that was an oversight on the city's part and send those over for us to administer, which added a lot more work to your plate that's already over full, so thank you. Wanted to ask, the overall diversion rate, we have set at over 50% to our contract to the state, but we've never quite met that, and we'll be going through to review that. But I'm wondering how far you feel like the diversion rate, 21.6%, was for this year, given the vast increase in amount of disposal that we had because of the flood. If there's some way to maybe calculate out the exact amount of flood damage that we sent to the landfill versus what our actual rate is just for curbside pickup and the usual course of trash for community, because I'm thinking that knocked our number down quite a bit, and we've been doing pretty well.
Yeah. I can look at that. That's a good point. It's always been in the 20s from what I can see. And so we can talk about this more in solid waste task force meetings. But I think when amending the 5-year plan, I would love a 50% diversion rate. I think that's great. But maybe when we crunch some numbers and have some discussions, maybe 35% is more realistic. 40. I'm not quite sure how 50 was calculated, which is very high for any municipality to get half of their waste to not go to landfill. And so we can kind of look at what's realistic for our next plan going forward. But yeah, anything with diversion, I always want to increase diversion. And so we're putting stuff out there consistently about how to reduce trash. But yeah, I'm open to any ideas with increasing diversion, but also what would be a really, really solid goal in the next 5 years.
I just wanted to bring it to the court's attention that was our rate that we're supposed to be achieving, and we've got a long way to go. Thanks.
Yeah, and actually, I think I kind of remember the last time that was done, and I think it was just a number pulled out of the air. I don't think it was based on any kind of data or anything, so, yeah, I think taking a closer look at that and looking at some realistic goals, you're absolutely right, Ally, so. Thank you very much. I think we're done, so, hope you feel better.
Thank you,
All
everyone.
right, thank you. All right, next I believe we have Mr. Mike Dees with us with the road department. How you doing tonight, sir?
Wonderful. How about yourself?
If I said better, my name be Mike Dees.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. What's going on? Hadn't been that long since we saw you.
No, seems like it's been a short period of time. This week, end of last week and this week, we've been doing some mailboxes and driveways. Y'all aware what that is?
Yeah.
No, we've been repairing them. What we do is, like the end of driveways where a road is and the blacktop on
there's
below
a picture right there.
mailboxes. We go in and fill rock in them. It makes it easier for the mail person and don't break the shoulder of our roads off.
Yeah.
It makes the residents really happy.
Yep.
Because they're getting their mail.
And your mail person.
Not just the mail person, but people getting it down there.
Yep. And then we've hauled some old compost to the landfill, and that's been about it. It's been such a short time since I was back in here.
Good. Any questions for Mike since last week? Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. Next, we have judge's report. First up is Lakeview update. Andrew, you got some pictures for us? So in this year's budget, they had put in renovating the golf shop. And so I want to thank the jailer Hopper and Greg and his team there. Charlie, who put that picture in there? Yeah, that's probably the one splinter he got. Here he comes. He's walking in the door. We got to give him a hard time. Charlie, really? You staged a picture? I mean, yeah. So anyways, we want to thank Greg for all his hard work out there. But he's basically custom building all the shelving and cabinets. Some of the cabinets he's bought. Everything's in budget right now. They have that's going to be where Greg is there. They're building that. We're going to pour concrete countertops as the finish. That's going to be kind of like a little concession area for hot dogs and popcorn and drinks and things like that. Picked out some really cool, I think Jenny, she helped with that, really cool furniture that is going to go in there. It got it's golf green. I was telling you about that yesterday. And I appreciate all the girls from the SAPSOR program that were there that kind of helped put tables together, and they've already painted the whole place. And Greg's hoping within the next couple weeks to have it completely buttoned up. So time-wise, that will be great. So, but he's moving the sink around and redoing some plumbing and running Wi-Fi and some electric for the end table. So it's going to be part of the shop is going to be kind of a sit, chill area, watch TV, and then the other part of it, I think, is going to have like 3 high tables with some chairs and stuff. So it'll be a lot more inviting. Let's just put it that way. So it's well past needing an update. So, but again, a special thanks to Greg and his team because he's doing a lot of work out there. So very appreciative, and they couldn't do it without Charlie. I mean, holding those wood like that. Not everybody can do that, could they, Charlie?
Somebody's got to hold the flashlight.
So, alrighty, next, Andrew, I believe we have some Kiwanis pictures. No, we're going to Lakeview. Okay, so this is current where we are at Lakeview Park. So lights are up, poles are up. They're just pouring concrete. They're working every day. I mean, they're moving. So obviously they were out with the snow and ice. So they're a couple more weeks behind, but things are going well. Had a meeting out there yesterday to talk about a couple of change orders that are in front of us. We'll talk about that in a minute. I know Shannon from Hitchcock Group is coming down Friday to do a site visit. So she's going to be meeting with Wes and his team to kind of go over how the project's going. But all in all, I think it's going very well. They're moving right along. So it's impressive to see. So can't wait for spring to get here. The buildings are being built. You know, I know that was kind of a big thing with Romtech and all that. They're hoping those are going to hit May 1st. So they're working on plumbing. They're stuffing plumbing up for the concessions now, and it's moving along. So I appreciate Mason. He's the superintendent out there. He's there every day, and he's making sure the contractors are there. So I think it's partially working well for us, and I didn't realize one of the big Rising Sun that's working on our project is also working on the new school right across the street. So I think they've been able to send crews back and forth, and it's helped both projects. So yeah, just very thankful. And like I said, if y'all, I'm sure Charlie would be happy to kind of give anybody a tour if they want to. But yeah, it's pretty muddy, but
They were cleaning the parking lot yesterday. So
yeah, they had a sweeper out there. They're doing a good job keeping the roads clean. So yeah, very appreciative. Knock on wood, things are going well. Alrighty, here's the Kiwanis breakfast. A lot of you all were there at Franklin County High School. It's a great organization. Can't say enough good things about it. You know, very service oriented. So there's actually it's one of our park employees there, old Dan, making pancakes. So, but anyways, I know Squire Sebastian was helping out. Most of us were there. Even brought old ex-Scotty Tracy out of there, to have a little breakfast. But it was a great year. I don't know how much money they raised. There was a lot of nonprofits there too this year, I noticed, around the edge, and it looked like people were really kind of interacting with them. So it's just a great event that most of us go to every single year, and they just do great things for our community. So just wanted to say thank you and let the community know if you didn't make it this year, let's do it again next year. Already, and this was just yesterday at the Historical Society. This is the annual Chamber State of the Community Address. That's Tish Shade there with the Chamber of Commerce. And then we have Sherry Satterley, the Mayor Lane Wilkerson, Mark Kopp, Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Acappo with Kentucky State, and then myself. So basically, some other people got up to speak. There were some awards given out. It's supposed to be an hour event. It's always 2 hours. We get 8 minutes to speak, but I think the theme this year was really people working together. Everyone up there talked about how they're working with their counterparts. Sherry talks how her and Mark work together, and vice versa, and the school systems, and the city and county, and even the state. And Representative Senator McConnell's field rep was there. Senator Comer, House Rep. Who else? Yeah, Representative Comer. Sorry if I said it. Erica Hancock, our new state rep, House representatives were there. So, and I don't know what the final number was, but I think they were expecting close to 300 people. So they're going to need to look for a bigger event because that room was full. So just want to thank Tish and her team, and it was a great event. I know Cable 10 was there, so if you weren't able to see it, check it out on Cable 10 when they post it. So go ahead, Squire Sebastian.
I apologize,
Yep.
Judge, thank you. KCDC, now Develop Frankfurt, shared a video for the
that's right.
first time there that we all may want to watch. So the link's probably been sent to everyone. So it's a really good overview of the dynamic nature of our community and how things are continuing to progress here. So it gives the viewer who we're sending it to, if we're using it for economic development purposes, tourism purposes, there are a number of purposes to be able, many platforms, but it is a really nice overview of the community, so.
Thank you for saying that. I'd forgotten about that. But also, yes, and that's the project that we did with that film company, with the city and county, and Develop Frankfurt now is all shared the cost of that. So I think it airs, I don't remember when she said, next week?
On CNN.
Yeah, CNN, and then it goes to PBS to be broadcast nationwide. So, and then the good thing about that, and you all asked great questions when we entered in that agreement, is that we are able to use all the footage from that for anything we want to use. So A-roll, B-roll, whatever, we legally own it. So, yeah, that was great. So, alrighty, we're going to go ahead and keep moving on. Any questions, concerns, comments from our February 12, 2026 minutes? Alrighty, seeing none, I believe Mr. Charlie Lewis is going to get up and talk about these two change orders that we have with the park project. Good evening, Charlie.
Good evening. Good evening, Court. Thank you, Judge. As the Judge mentioned, the project out there is really going really well. It is, and of course we got the little golf project going that Greg's helping us out with. There's a lot going on in parks, even more so that we'll talk about down the road. And that's a good thing. Unfortunately, tonight we've got a couple of change orders we need to address with the ball field project. And let's see, the first one that we would like to request for approval is, the conduit for future fiber optic cable installation. Basically, from a technology standpoint, our goal here is to provide underground conduit. This will run congruent with the current underground electric, but it can't go in the electric conduit. We have to have a dedicated line for the fiber. So that's why this price was developed. Apparently there's some friction that comes into play when you run electric and conduit. You just can't do them in the same pipe. So, I'm sorry, electric and fiber. So this is a conduit installation, same ditch line as our electric, but it has to be in a different pipe, and it's a foot away, separated by a foot of rock. So that's how they came up with this price. The total for that installation is $10,519.84. By doing this, this will allow us to stream the games that we have for the kids, and it kind of does several things that when we did some research. Number one, obviously, the family members of these players that can't make it to the game, they can watch remotely on their phone, on their laptop, wherever. If you got a team here from Hopkinsville and they're here playing, maybe not all their family members could come, but some of their family members may want to watch. So that creates that opportunity. It also does some kind of behind the scenes information for coaching. They're able to go back and look at these games and sit down with their team and say, hey, here's what we can do better, X, Y, and Z. They can review the game. And also creates a path for, let's say, recruiting services, or even colleges and universities that are interested in some of these players. As we get high school level teams in here, they can look at these videos and say, hey, we need to contact this young lady. We want them on our team. So there's a few things that come into play by making this upgrade. So that's my first sales pitch. Or is there any questions?
Squardakis.
No, I'll say I've used this before, like somewhere else. I've been able to see somebody play ball out of town. It's just super cool. Like, I think people really, really enjoy that. I think it's a neat thing to have.
Thanks.
And I do think it's one of the things we had talked about early on, and then I think it just kind of got lost in the shuffle, and it was one of those things that, we'll pick this up, after it's built. But then Mason called me a while back and he says, we got to put it in now if we're putting it in with all the infrastructure. So that's why it wasn't in the original bid. I don't think it was anybody's fault. It was just one of those things we talked about.
We did.
And then just kind of,
We don't want to recut pavement.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah,
No,
we'll
for
run
sure.
some open ditches we need to utilize.
Yeah.
But I think it also, I think it also allows people, grandparents and aunts and uncles and people to see their kids and grandkids and family members, but it also makes people want to come here.
Yeah.
Because they can see what's going on and how nice
Yeah.
the park is.
But even on a local level, when our local kids are playing there, there's a lot of, elders in our community and they can't get out. So I think it's a great tool, and if we're gonna build this amazing state-of-the-art project, it's not worth, So anyways, all right, Squire Wiseman.
Judge, just to run to the concession buildings, was there not already a service designed in part of this for point of sale? I'm imagining that's.
I think it was
Gonna be
my
critical
understanding
for
that they were
point-of-sale
gonna do
systems.
point of sale, just wireless. And then with the data, in order for it to stream and be, with the pixels and everything, it has to be hardwired. So I think the
Right.
point of sales, they had figured they were going to just use wireless, like a lot of things at the park. Now, there's internet at the park, it's wireless, so. But once we really got down to it and started looking at digital stuff, I think it's a must to hardwire.
And we have some fiber now too, just
Yeah.
recently upgraded, so
Yeah.
it's close by.
Yep. All right, Charlie, what's the next one?
Our next request is for the installation of some of the light poles. Of course, the construction company had a rock clause, and that came into play. They ran into just under 50 feet of rock to core drill for the poles to be installed. So, and then the contract states that it's $500 a foot, so that gets us at 26,497 with that their estimate and the price, the Codell's markup as well. So almost 25,000 for the rock removal, 1,600 for the Codell part.
But honestly, I've seen people spend $100,000 on a residential basement, so I think in the scheme of things, we got kind of lucky. Those poles are, 15 foot in the ground. They're
Yeah.
deep. They're deep with all the karst and everything else, so, yeah, it's,
I thought it was gonna be more,
yeah.
but, so,
Yeah,
I
because
was
they have to
happy.
bring a whole nother piece of equipment in to drill through them, so.
yeah.
It's not much we can do about this one. It is in the contract. Squire Wiseman.
This is just removing the millings, right? This isn't drilling. or anything extra? This was just the debris left over, the rock?
No, this is going
It's for
through
new
solid
This is
rock.
for the board?
This is the boards,
Okay.
yeah, that's,
It didn't,
Document
wasn't,
says drilling and removal.
yeah, this is going through solid rock, these carbide tips and, yeah.
okay.
Yeah, they went down, drilled it, and hauled it off.
And honestly, I think they're the only 7 poles, because it's been too muddy. They're ready to set them in there, but they're the last 7, but it's because they hit rock and then the weather set in on them, so.
Yeah.
They were hoping, I think, this week or next to get those.
Yeah, several poles are set.
Yeah, most of them are set.
Will this be the last of increases for Musco lighting? It seems like everything has been related to something with those light poles.
Yeah, yeah. In theory, it should be. They're all up. So,
Hope so.
Squire Sebastian.
Thank you, Judge. So that rock, did they haul it off? Is it anything that we can use? Was it like shale
No,
when it
it's-
came out of there?
it turns into
Just
powder.
fine
Yeah.
grind?
They didn't hammer
It's
it out.
very
They just
fine.
drilled
They
it.
didn't,
Rock on
they
it.
didn't whole ram it out?
No, they brought a
No,
big carbide
They
tip.
brought a big auger.
Yeah,
It's
Okay.
powdery.
so it's powder.
All right, thank you.
Where are they taking it to? Not sinkholes somewhere, I hope.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that much material. I don't know.
We dumped it in the pond down there.
I'm just kidding. I had an instance recently where somebody thought it wasn't gonna hurt, and it did.
All righty. Any other questions for Charlie on the project?
No, can you sit down?
Yeah. And I do know money-wise, Amy can talk on this, we're still a little over 25,000 credit from that last change order. So there's only about a plus 11,000 all in on the project so far. That's rough numbers. Okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah. I get that right, Amy?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Charlie.
All righty, next I believe Belinda. She's hiding over there. You and Autumn got it figured out. Y'all hide her.
Well, it was a full house when I came in.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Great, thanks for being
Good
with
to
us.
see all of you all.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk with you all tonight about authorization to apply for a Law Enforcement Protection Program grant for approximately $6,000 in ammunition for the Sheriff's Office. The Kentucky Office of Homeland Security, in collaboration with the Kentucky State Police, has established a fund through KRS 16.220 to provide equipment to law enforcement agencies through this grant program. It is a reimbursement grant, and there is no local match obligation.
Squire Sebastian.
Thank you, Judge.
Yep.
Can we all go to the resolution? Right under the resolution, it says County of Frankfort. And then the resolution starts off with the County of Frankfort. Can somebody please make some changes there?
See what she's talking about, Belinda?
Yeah.
Anybody see it but me?
Yes.
No, I see
Oh.
it.
For sure.
In the
Yeah,
board.
right after
I
the
gotcha.
extract.
So in fact, somebody could review that and make those changes before we sign this agreement and put it into resolution form. I think that's probably an in-house thing, right?
You can
That's
make
a me
those
thing.
changes. Yeah. It's all good.
That was a me who typed the County of Frankfurt.
Yeah,
My
let's not do
apologies.
that anymore.
It's all good.
Must have been having a day. I don't know.
It was one of those
You have somebody want to talk about it? Come on up, talk. No, come on, you're here.
Daniel's like,
I appreciate you.
Like County of Frankfurt.
I appreciate you being here anyways, but, what can you tell us about this?
This is a grant we applied for last year. Last year we asked for $20,000 and we did not receive any of it. And this year it is much less, only asking for $6,000. But if you have any questions about that, it's because we purchased new firearms last year and we transitioned and we put optics on our weapons, which required us to fire 800 rounds during the new course of operation to learn the new optic. So that's the difference between $20,000 and $6,000 requested this year.
Wow. Thank you for that information. I did not know that. And
That's a good price.
Squire Tanner?
And that will get us through the year.
Yeah.
Squire Tanner?
I do have a question. If the Homeland Security Department does not get funded, federal government, does that affect this? No.
No. We will be responsible for anything that, if we don't get this grant, we'll be required to take it out of our budget for the $6,000.
Well, that's fine, I understand that.
Okay.
But the question basically
It's
was,
not
if they don't
federal
fund
money,
it, the federal government, Homeland Security is what they're fighting over, I believe, right now.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
this is money that's basically from a fund where they auction off confiscated weapons. So this is not federal money.
Kind of like the vest fund that we were
This
treating.
is exactly the same program.
Yeah.
They prioritize vests, then weapons and armor, and then tasers, and then body cameras.
All righty, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
All righty, I believe Amy's next. Good evening, how are you?
Good evening.
Thanks for being with us.
So this is the second reading of Budget Amendment Number 3. We're amending in 2 grant awards, surplus auction proceeds, clerk excess fees, insurance proceeds, interest earned, and an amount from reserves. And it has been approved from the Department of Local Government.
Any questions for Amy on this agenda item? Or, oh, I'm sorry. Squire Sebastian, do you have a hand?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you, Judge.
Yep.
Madam Treasurer, could you just talk about the budgetary increase, how that is going to
Certainly.
increase our budget so that everybody understands the impacts with capital and federal and then without?
Sure.
Thank you.
And for your all's reference, it is at the bottom, but let me go over that for the public. This increase is $972,578, bringing our budget to $70.6 million. Excluding capital expenses and federal projects, this increase is $790,609, bringing that budget to $48,969,706.
All righty, thank you. Next.
You can make them increases in proceeds a normal thing.
Yes, I hope to. And so the next agenda item is that. It's authorization to open 2 new CDs. We have 2 that will be maturing within the next month. And I estimate that that interest is going to be around $91,000. So I'm asking the court to authorize reinvesting those. You will see the duration is a little bit longer, I should say, than what we're used to. 24 months and 30 months. So I'm hoping to capture a higher interest rate so that we can have that revenue for a longer period.
Again, Amy, I want to thank you with working with that company, really kind of honing in on these investments, and it's paying off, so thank you very much, Squire.
Absolutely.
Oh, y'all fighting over it.
I got
Let's
the
go.
question I always ask.
Okay.
Do we have a running total of? Just asking.
I didn't bring it with me today.
Yeah.
I know.
That's fine, I'll ask you next time.
Okay. It's just over $1 million from when we began with Cash Fest, which has been a couple of years.
That's crazy,
So,
that's
yeah.
crazy.
You said it's just over $1 million, or it's just over $1 million?
Squire Sebastian.
Thank you, Judge. My question, none of this will be, or will this, is this outside of our arbitrage? Because this is a different fund. I'm just trying to make sure.
Oh, it is, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I just think that's, we need to be.
That is complete.
Thank you.
So
I
those
just wanna
bond
make sure everybody-
proceeds have been spent, that interest, yes, that's complete.
All right, thank you.
Squire Wisman.
Judge Amy, while we've got you, I fielded an odd question from one of our staff members the other day that didn't understand quite what we were investing. There's sort of a feeling that we're just sitting on a huge rainy day fund that's out there for us to use and put into work, but it's really more of time value of money, of most of our tax revenues coming in at one time of year and us investing those. Could you just kind of walk us
Sure.
through exactly how we're doing this whole thing?
Sure. So that rainy day fund that you referred to at the end of the year was right around 14 million. So, you know, of course, that is what we're investing until we need it. But these are rolling CDs, so as they're coming due, then we're either, if we have the need, if we have cash flow need, then we're using it. But other than that, that's when I'm coming to you to reinvest. So, and they're in CDs or CDARs with our local banks.
Thanks.
And Squire, I think it's good to realize, and Amy, I've talked about this with some other people, is, how much is sufficient for a rainy day fund? And I think, we're doing a very good job of sustaining where we need to be. We've talked to a lot of other communities, but the instance of the flood in April, we're still at millions of dollars from the courthouse that we haven't been paid back. And so I know there's other communities that went through a flood that didn't have any money, and they had to go out, start bonding, start, getting money. And we were very fortunate to have that cash that we could access to be able to float that until we get paid back. So that's just another reason that we have to keep those funds. Squire Sebastian.
Thank you, Judge. So since I stepped on the court, that was one of the very first questions I asked in the strategic plan of our former treasurer. How much do we need to keep? What percentage? We've had a running dialogue about that as well, thinking that we need to keep a certain amount several months. So without saying a specific amount, it is kind of a range so that we can continue the operation of what we need to do for our constituents to keep government operating. So that's the key thing. When I first started asking those questions, I was looking for an amount, and it makes better sense to talk about it in the sense of a range of funds based on what we're doing at the time.
And less of a rainy day fund. It's not a rainy day fund.
It's not, this is,
It's a gas line blowing up downtown Frankfurt, a flood, natural catastrophe,
tornado going through here to keep.
something wrong with the government.
Yep.
We're in
There
turmoil
are.
anyway. So we have a contingency to have money available to us to do the operations of our employees.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, if something was to happen, we could get the money back, we just don't get the interest, correct?
That's right.
Without a penalty.
Well, the way I read this, and it's in reference to what Squire asked, $3 million for 24 months, 2 years, is that money invested anywhere now, or is this new money basically going in?
No, it is invested right now in a 12-month, 1.5 million, and a 3-month for $3 million. So when those come due, then I'll be reinvesting them.
That's right up here, that's money at
Yes.
the top.
Yes.
So I didn't really, okay, I didn't realize, I did look at those numbers, but maybe this is new money, didn't say.
No.
We wish.
But that's a long time, 2.5
Alright.
years, one of them.
All right, Amy, next one. Treasurer's
And so
report.
you have the treasurer's report, which is the revenue and the expense report as of February 13th.
Any questions on the treasurer's report tonight?
I have one question.
All righty, go ahead, Squire.
On the income, there's some, still likes a little bit being up to the property taxes are still like, have we collected all those now pretty
No.
much? It's not over yet.
No, it's not.
Well, that was my question. What month, April? I'd have to figure it out. That's fine. That's all I wanted to know.
All right. Amy, thank you very much. Thanks for being with us tonight. Payment of claims. Does anybody have any questions for Kim on payments to be made?
I did make one change on the jail fund. I decreased it by $903. There was an invoice that was already paid at a previous court.
Go ahead, Squire.
Thank you, Judge. In the jail fund, court bills, it's under account 03-5101336, the maintenance line item. There's an invoice there for $10,500 change.
Yeah.
To replace the block heater with a pump. Is that on one of the new generators that we have there? And so the question is, if it is,
I don't know.
is there still some warranty? I mean, we had a really lengthy discussion about
Yeah.
those generators.
Oh, I remember.
Moving from diesel to natural gas
Yep.
and all. So I'm just wondering if there was, we still have some
Yeah.
warranty. there's no one here to
Yeah,
ask it,
yeah.
but
Maybe we can ask at next meeting, we'll have, do you know, Kim, you don't know that answer, do you?
No, I do not. I can reach out and ask.
And so my only question is not knowing if that's, that would be part of our ESG program, and I know there's some conversation about that.
There is. We'll see.
So I'm wondering if we hold this one until we get some answer,
Yeah.
and if the answer is it's out of the warranty and we have to pay it, then I don't think the court would want to
Right.
hold up paying a bill.
Yeah.
But I would say where we have the
Yeah.
request to
Kim,
hold something.
do you know when that bill is due?
Yes, I'm
Like-
trying to
like-
get.
yeah, sorry.
You
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going.
I'll look and see.
And maybe when we go into closed, we're gonna take a break. Maybe
Yeah.
that would be the time
That's fine.
to look at that.
Yeah.
But I just bring it up for that because there was a lot of discussion about these generators
Yeah.
and how they were pretty much bulletproof.
Yep, I
And so
remember.
now we're seeing parts for a bulletproof generator.
It's not very old.
Yeah, no, it's
Yep.
not at all at all.
So,
All right, we'll check into that, and then we'll talk about that before we get to the voting
all
session.
right, thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you. All right, any other,
Judge?
yes, go ahead, Scarlett.
Page 3 of the general fund court bills, there's a $216.83 for a $10,000 bond for a jail official. I don't remember seeing one come through, and typically we are approving all bonds, so I'm just wondering what position that was for.
It says jailer official.
It just says jail official, jailer
Yeah,
official.
so, Amy, go ahead, yep.
That is a bond that you approved 2024, is that correct?
Yes.
That did not get turned in
Okay.
and was found through the audit process. So that's that payment.
Is that for the jailer?
It is.
So the jailer's been operating without a bond for
Well,
a
they
year and a half?
retroed it.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All righty, anything else before we go into closed? No? Oh, okay, so you turned that on.
I'm ready to.
Sorry, I was like, I was waiting for a question. All righty.
Make a motion.
Authorization to go into closed session per KRS 61.8101B.C. Deliberations on the future acquisition or sale of real property by a public agency, but only when publicly be likely to affect the value of a specific piece of property to be acquired for public use or sold by a public agency. Discussions are proposed or pending litigation against or on behalf of a public agency.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All righty, we're going into closed session. Please. Back in session. Do I have a motion to go into open session?
So moved.
Second.
Alrighty. Clerk, did you get that?
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Next, I believe we have Autumn that's here is going to present, how's that?
Yeah. You've already heard a lot about this project, so I'll be pretty brief. This first item is authorization to declare a portion of the property at 501 Home Street as surplus. This is the property that Chuck Knowles was talking about earlier today regarding 2,433 square feet of property outside of the fence line at our property on 501 Home Street for the corridor project going on there. The second item is authorization of the sale of a portion of the property at 501 Home Street for that same parcel to the city of Frankfurt for $10,500.
Does anybody have any questions on these agenda items for Autumn? Squire Wiseman.
Autumn, could you just, as a due course here, talk about the appraisal that was done and that amount comes from, the sales amount comes from the appraisal?
Yes.
Just verifying.
Yeah.
Right.
So the city and Strand submitted an appraisal document that is in your packet that indicates how they arrived at that number.
Thanks. I've just been a stickler about the due diligence on appraisals, so I
Sure.
appreciate that was done.
All right, any other questions for Autumn on these agenda items? Autumn, thank you. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
Other business, do we have any other business tonight before we go to voting session? Squire Sebastian.
Just very quickly, I just want to remind the court that Easter at Lakeview will be on Saturday, the 28th of March. Things will get started at 1. However, those who are volunteering that day need to be there at 11:30 for all of the tasks that need to be laid out.
Did you have to sign up for that or anything? Because I didn't sign up for anything, but I'll be glad to come help.
No, but I will.
You see what I'm saying?
None of the court has signed up for specific tasks,
Okay.
but you'll be getting
Yeah,
there.
let me know, because I'll be there whenever.
And then I need to talk to everybody on the court once the meeting is over about the sensory area. All right, thank you. Thank you, Judge.
Yeah.
And then the rain date is the following day on the 29th. If there's some inclement weather, we'll try to have it the 29th. And if there is inclement weather on both days, we'll see everybody in 2027.
One thing I want to remind the court is tomorrow night, we're having kind of a going away party for Bobby Caudell, who was longtime maintenance personnel here. So that will be down at Serafini's at 5 o'clock. So I hope the court and employees can make it, and wish Bobby well as he's going through some stuff, and thank you. So, alrighty, we ready?
You say tomorrow?
5 o'clock.
Tomorrow, 5 o'clock, yes. Alrighty, do we ready to go? Alrighty, we're gonna go into voting session. Phil, you ready? You ready? Alright, buddy, let's go. Alrighty, clerk, please call roll.
Squire Sebastian,
Here.
Squire Blackburn,
Present.
Squire Dykus. Here. Squire Harrod.
Here.
Squire Tanner,
Here.
Squire Wiseman.
Present.
Judge Mueller.
Present, thank you, clerk. Authorization for approval of minutes from the regular meeting of February 12th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to approve change order number 4 to Codell Construction on Blue Sky Electric bid for Lakeview Park Project Phase 1.
So moved.
Second.
Did you get it, clerk?
Squire Harrod.
Yes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Did you get that, clerk?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. Authorization to approve change order number 5 to Codell Construction on Blue Sky Electric bid for Lakeview Park Project Phase 1.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Did you get it, clerk?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. Authorization to approve a resolution of the County of Frankfort, Kentucky, authorizing the county judge executive to make application for and upon arrival to enter into an agreement with the Kentucky Office of Homeland Security, KOHS, to execute any documents which deemed necessary by KOHS to facilitate and administer the project, and to act as the authorized correspondent for this project as amended.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Second reading approval of amendment number 3 to ordinance number 4-2025 relating to budget for fiscal year 2025-2026.
So moved.
Second.
Did you get it, clerk?
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to authorize the treasurer to open the following certificate of deposit for $3 million for 24 months on behalf of the fiscal court to improve investment earnings.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to authorize the treasurer to open the following certificate of deposit of $1.5 million for 30 months on behalf of the fiscal court to improve investment earnings.
So moved.
Second.
Did you get it, clerk?
Dykus?
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Authorization to receive the treasurer's
So
report.
moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. Payment of claims. Is there a motion to deny any claim?
So can we discuss
Yep.
the generator?
Perfect.
please?
Clerk?
Thank you.
The invoice is due February the 26th of 26.
So what I'll make a motion on is if we can get some clarification about if that remains under warranty, because I think that was the discussion here of the body.
Yep.
If it's under warranty, then certainly we will question the expense. If it is not, and it is something we have to pay to keep that generator, which they're supposed to test every month, if it's an
Yep.
issue, that will allow you, Judge, to go ahead and pay the invoice.
Okay. Is
Sir,
court good with that?
Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah, we'll contact the jailer tomorrow morning to get that
Yes.
figured out. Okay, so payment claims. Is there a motion to deny any payment claim?
So
As,
I'm
how should I
gonna,
say that?
I'm gonna say,
To be determined on the contract, if it's under warranty, if not, release the check on
Or just,
executive.
Isn't there a number, don't complicate it. Isn't there a number for the bill? Can we just hold the one bill?
Contingent on the,
Yes.
on the
Contingent
warranty
on
on
what
the
the judge
generator.
executive finds out from the jailer tomorrow. Something like that?
Yeah.
Y'all good with that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
thank you.
alrighty. No motion other than that was made. Let the record reflect all claims are paid. Authorization to declare a portion, 2,433 square feet of property at 501 Home Street as surplus.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Okay, did you get that, clerk?
Yes.
Okay. Authorization to approve the sale of the portion of the property at 501 Home Street to City of Frankfurt.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Did you get that, clerk?
Yes.
Alrighty. Authorization to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passes. We're adjourned.